Oh, the Tsundere. If you heard the phrases like "bakka janai no?" or "urusai," or "ha?" or "it's not like I like you" or anything, then you probably encountered one or two of these in anime. Tsundere is a combination of the word tsun tsun, which is a mimenic word for being harsh or irritable, and dere dere, which is an onomatopoeia for being lovey-dovey. And basically, this shows a character trope where the character is harsh at the first, while they slowly warm up to you. Some examples are Taiga from Toradora, and Chitoge from Nisekoi. So is this Dere type the best? We can't have a proper comparison without knowing the other Deres. But there are literally too many Deres to cover, so I will only mention the popular ones. So obscure Deres like Kamidere or Himedere will not be included. Before we start, please do note that personal preferences play a huge factor, and if you disagree with me, then it's cool. It's not like I care or anything. The first up is Dandere. The Dan part of Dandere comes from the word dammari, which means silent. This Dere type is often silent due to shyness or some other reason. So basically, this is the quiet type. The example for this archetype is Tadokoro Megumi from Shokugeki no Soma. She is a timid and quiet girl and only speaks up when she's comfortable or when her friends needs her. Well, the problem with this archetype is that it's so bland. It's like the white bread of Deres, and who even states that Tadokoro is their favorite in Shokugeki no Soma? Most of the people will say Erina. Not me though, but most of the people. And you know what Erina is? A Tsundere. So yeah, I rest my case. The next Dere is Dere Dere. This means lovey-dovey. And this character archetype refers to someone who is happy, sweet, and energetic. A good example of this is Chika from Kaguya-sama Kokurasetai or Kaguya-sama Love is War. Personally, I don't hate this archetype, but without a buffer to keep the Dere Dere in check, they could easily turn annoying fast. Usually, they use Tsundere as a buffer to the Dere Dere, so they can get a nice banter out of the interaction. Chika is so lovable because she is in a show with two Tsunderes, Kaguya and Shirogane, and without their back and forth interaction, she won't be as lovable, if that makes sense. The point is that Dere Dere needs a good buffer not to be annoying, and so as an archetype that relies on a buffer, it makes it inferior to the Tsundere. The next type is Kudere, coming from the English word cool. This character seems cold and emotionless on the outside but slowly warms up to you. A notable example of this is Nagato Yuki from Suzumiya Haruhi no Yutsu, or the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Personally, this is my second favorite Dere, and the interactions they can have with other characters is fun to look at sometimes. But the only problem with this is that some Kudere take the emotionless part to the next level, and it's like the characters are talking to a brick wall until the eventual Dere appears, and that's why I prefer the more confrontational Tsundere than the Kudere. Okay, the last one is Yandere. The Yan part of Yandere comes from the Japanese word yanderu, which means progressive form of to be sick. This Dere type is often lovable at first, but that said, love turns into an obsession that is destructive, often leading into violence. So basically, this type is straight up crazy. So why is this Dere type popular, you ask? It's because of Gasai Yuno from Mirai Nikki. Because of this character, we got a surge of Yandere popularity. It even has a game called Yandere Simulator. I like this type the least because, I don't know, they're scary, and the only one that I can tolerate is Toga from Boku no Hero, but that's about it. Tsunderes are way better because, you know, they will not try to murder you. Well, with all the praise I give to the Tsunderes, there are problems with this archetype. One of such is that when they overdo the Tsun aspect of the Tsundere, the character just becomes straight up mean and borderline abusive, and that's just annoying to watch. And that's the problem with Tsunderes like Taiga from Toradora or Louis from Zero no Tsukaima, that after a while you feel sorry for the characters that's taking the abusive behavior. Tsunderes like milk tea are the best when they have the perfect blend. If you add too much milk into the milk tea, it only tastes like milk. And if you put too much tea, you will only taste tea. And this applies to the case of the Tsun and the Dere. The perfect blended Tsundere are very likable characters, and when you put them in a will they won't they situation, they are invincible. To give an example of the perfect blended Tsundere, the one that comes to mind is Tosaka Rin from the Fate series. She's the poster girl for being a perfectly blended tsundere. She starts out harsh and hostile, but when she shows her dere, it melts the audience's and Emiya's heart. And after the initial tsun stage, she abandons it slowly. And at the end of Unlimited Blade Works, she's comfortable with Emiya and it's very heartwarming to see. Some tsunderes continue being one even after the cat is out of the bag, so to say, just to fill the trope. And this hurts any character development the character gets, unless you know if it's pure comedy show, then it's forgivable. The role of the tsundere is to be harsh at first and not for eternity after all. And Rin does a good job to play the archetype well. That being said, my favorite tsundere is Senjo Gahara Hitagi from the Monogatari series. Her tsun only comes out as a clever banter and not at all like the loud reaction that tsunderes from other animes displays. This is the side effect of the writing of the Monogatari series being so meta. Senjo Gahara on paper should be a tsundere because of the fact that she is harsh and not true to her feelings in the beginning. But she doesn't try to play the trope, or the show doesn't rub that trope to the audience's faces. And it is only conveyed through clever dialogue, wordplay, and meta-commentary within the show that she is a tsundere. And the funny thing is that she isn't even a full tsundere because she has kudere tendencies. So why is she my favorite tsundere if she isn't even a full-blown tsundere? Because the complexity of a character that grows out of the mold of a single trope makes a character that much more compelling and relatable. So that being said, is tsundere the best dere? The answer is yes and no at the same time. Tsunderes that stay within the four corners of the trope makes it a bit incomplete to say it's the best. But tsunderes that break the very mold of its trope makes it the best dere. But Kuro, with this argument the other deres can break out of their mold too, right? Yes, that is correct, but the tsundere in my opinion is the easiest to break the mold than let's say a yandere. But as I said earlier, this all boils down to preference, and if you enjoy a complex yandere or dandere, then more power to you. I just prefer the harsh and lovable tsundere. What's your favorite dere? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.